You have exactly 30 minutes. That's how long it takes for a king cobra's venom to stop your breathing completely. Not slow it down, not make it difficult, stop it entirely. And, here is the truly terrifying part about this biological countdown. You will be fully conscious for almost all of it. Your mind is going to be completely awake as your body just shuts down. Today, we're going minute by minute through exactly what king cobra venom does to the human body. Now, this explainer is based entirely on real medical science and biology. No myths here, and definitely no exaggerations. This is just the stark, incredibly harsh reality of one of nature's most potent chemical weapons. But hey, before we get into the venom itself, let's quickly look at the animal delivering it. The king cobra isn't just your average snake, it's a massive 18-foot giant. It actually holds the record as the longest venomous snake on Earth. I mean, think about that. That is literally longer than most cars you see driving down the road. But what makes it truly unique is its behavior. The king cobra is actually the only snake in the entire world that builds a nest for its eggs. It doesn't just lay them and leave them, it actively guards them. So you've got this creature with intense parental and territorial instincts, which makes it exceptionally dangerous when it feels threatened or, if its territory gets breached. Found across Southeast Asia and India, its scientific name is Ophiofagus hana, and that literally translates to snake eating in Latin. Yeah, you heard that right. It actively hunts and eats other snakes, even other highly venomous cobras. It is totally the undisputed apex predator of its domain. And its payload? Completely unmatched. In just a single strike, a king cobra can deliver an astonishing yield of up to 500 milligrams of venom right into its victim. To put that massive dose into perspective for you, 500 milligrams is scientifically enough to bring down a fully grown elephant in just 3 hours. Or, if we're talking about us, 11 adult humans, from one single bite. So, let's look at the timeline and see how this actually builds, minute by minute, once that venom enters a human body. The clock starts at minute 0, the moment of the strike. Now, unlike other snakes that might just bite and quickly dart away, the king cobra bites and it holds on. Its jaws literally lock down and it chews, mechanically pumping as much of that 500 milligrams of venom as possible directly into the puncture wounds, straight into your bloodstream. During those first 5 minutes, a microscopic battle begins. King cobra venom is primarily neurotoxic. So here's what that means at the cellular level. Normally, your nerve cells tell your muscles to move using a chemical messenger called acetylcholine, but the venom contains these molecules that are perfectly shaped to hijack this exact system. They park themselves right into those receptor sites and absolutely refuse to leave, effectively blocking all communication between your nerves and your muscles. The signal is just cut. By the time we hit the 5-minute mark, the physical reality really starts setting in. You're going to start to feel a profound heaviness in the bitten limb. This strange, entirely unnatural tingling sensation begins spreading upward through your body. The edges of your vision, they might start to blur just a little bit. And remember the psychological terror of all this? You are still totally conscious. You're likely still walking around, desperately trying to get help, but your brain knows for a fact that something is structurally very, very wrong. As we enter the 5 to 15-minute window, things escalate really rapidly. Intense nausea hits, often right alongside vomiting. Then you'll experience a classic symptom called ptosis. Basically, your eyelids start uncontrollably drooping because the tiny facial muscles controlling them have completely lost their nerve signals. Speaking becomes super slurred, and swallowing becomes extremely difficult as the muscles in your throat systematically start to fail. Doctors refer to this specific, terrifying progression as descending flaccid paralysis. It is absolutely the signature symptom of a king cobra envenomation. The paralysis starts at your head and relentlessly spreads downward through your entire body. Suddenly, your arms and legs feel like they weigh 100 pounds each. But your mind? Your mind is completely clear. You are completely awake, knowing exactly what is happening as you literally lose control of your physical form. Now we enter the absolute critical window, minutes 15 to 30. That descending paralysis has now reached your chest cavity. It's targeting your respiratory muscles, zeroing in specifically on your diaphragm, which, as you probably know, is the primary muscle responsible for pulling air into your lungs. The brutal scientific math of the situation is simply this. If only 1/3 of the receptor sites on your diaphragm become blocked by this cobra neurotoxin, literally just 33%, your diaphragm completely stops functioning. You can no longer draw a breath. Without oxygen, respiratory failure sets in, and that 30-minute countdown concludes. But, incredibly, the king cobra's arsenal isn't even finished. Alongside the neurotoxins, this venom also packs cardiotoxins. These proteins directly target your heart muscle, causing wildly erratic heartbeats and potentially inducing full-blown cardiac arrest. This dual-pronged attack on both your lungs and your heart is exactly why the World Health Organization classifies the king cobra as a Category 2 snake of high medical importance. When a severe envenomation happens, your window for survival is measured strictly in minutes. So the ultimate question, is survival even possible? Well, yes, people do survive. But it requires an incredibly strict and immediate medical protocol where absolutely everything has to go right. Step 1, hospital. Immediately, not in an hour, right now. Step 2, doctors have to administer massive doses of specific antivenom, usually around 8 to 20 vials, just to neutralize the venom proteins currently flooding your system. And step 3, you will almost certainly require life support and a mechanical ventilator to essentially breathe for you while that antivenom fights off the paralysis. To show you just how incredibly narrow that margin of error is, let's look at a real, documented case study from the UK. A patient was bitten by a captive king cobra and remarkably managed to reach a fully equipped hospital in just 20 minutes. Even with that blazing fast response time, they required over 12 hours of intensive care, experienced highly erratic heart rates, couldn't breathe on their own, and very nearly died. 20 minutes to the hospital, and it was still almost too late. Which brings us to a really critical warning. We have all seen the movies where someone cuts the snake bite, tries to suck out the venom, slaps on a tight tourniquet, or maybe packs the wound with ice. Listen, those are exceptionally dangerous myths. In reality, doing any of those things will drastically worsen the situation by concentrating the venom, destroying stress tissue, or even accelerating the spread. The only reality that actually saves you is clinical antivenom, mechanical ventilation, and uncompromised speed. Before we wrap up, though, it's really important to take a step back and respect the animal itself. The king cobra is truly an extraordinary creature. It's highly intelligent, fiercely devoted to its young, and just happens to carry one of the most medically significant venoms in the natural world. But bites on humans are incredibly rare, usually only involving handlers or someone accidentally cornering one. Trust me, they absolutely do not want to bite you. In its natural environment, the king cobra would vastly prefer to disappear silently into the brush rather than confront you. But if an incredibly rare mistake does happen and it strikes, well, you now understand the exact biology of why those 30 minutes matter so much. You've seen the timeline, the relentless spread of those neurotoxins, and the terrifying reality of descending paralysis. The clock is scary, for sure, but understanding the medical science behind it gives us a really profound respect for nature's engineering. Which brings us to an incredible question to leave you with. If the massive payload of a king cobra shuts your body down in 30 minutes, what exactly happens when a black mamba bites you? We're talking about a snake that moves significantly faster and whose highly specialized venom acts even quicker. We'll be breaking down that exact biological timeline in our next explainer, so you definitely don't want to miss it. Keep learning, stay curious, and I will see you in the next one.